Couldn't sleep this night thinking that I would not know what to eat at breakfast. I woke up and I started looking at things that I could do and how I could do them. And I decided on oats, cooked oats, and well, these were the two alternatives I thought about. Hot dog, and I will explain. I will explain. I counted how much calories and proteins were there in both the oatmeal and the bun and the sausage so I could make it. And then I went to the supermarket and there were sausages, but when I look at the ingredients, I was thinking, so I want to make sure I eat enough, but not too much. And I'm going to put these things I can't even spell. No, they stayed. So I'm going to think of an alternative to make homemade sausages. They were going to be vegan sausages, so there might be some recipe out there. And when I got home, it was almost time for lunch. So I decided to use the leftovers. This is a lot more than the 100 grams. So what I did was I just used 100 grams of this because it would be too much. I might not be able to eat it if it was more. And I counted how many proteins these would have, and then the difference I added uh, um, the difference to 15 grams of protein because that's how much I decided to have per meal. Hear me out. I decided to have between 18 and 20 grams of proteins per meal, but in the main dish, so to speak, the bulk of the meal, 15 grams of protein only, because I noticed the add ons do add on. So these two together are 7 grams. This weight of garbanzo beans or chickpeas is 8 grams. So this gives me 15 grams. But I added sauce. The sauce was made with yogurt. I seasoned it with salt, cummings, and cumings, and coriander, cilantro, things like something like that. I ground it, and 1 tablespoon of olive oil. This added 1 more gram of proteins with the yogurt, so 16. Then I wanted to have dessert. These are berries, mixed berries. Do you know they have proteins? Yep, 100 grams of this have 1 gram of proteins. So I'm already at 17 grams of proteins. And I am still 1 gram below the allotted amount I wanted to have. And I added some pickled cucumbers. I look at the ingredients, it was just water and salt, and I'm not sure if there's something else, but everything that was in there was food. I could understand what it was, so I bought it. This is an onion, it's also on the same jar. And 100 grams of these have 1.4 grams. These weight 25 grams. So every 10 grams have 0.14 grams of proteins. So I have almost 30 grams of pickles. I multiply the 0.14 for 3, it's 12, 3, it's 40, it's half a gram, let's say it's half a gram of protein. So I'm now at 17.5. If I made any account wrong, if there's something a little bit heavier, a little bit more, well, I haven't accounted for the carrots nor the tomatoes. I have no idea. I haven't accounted, have not seen. If they have proteins, they can still fit in the allotted maximum 20 grams per meal, preferably 18. It was it was a long night. I stayed up until late. But I didn't stay up until late. I went to bed and then I woke up in the middle of the night because I wanted to get this straight. And when I did, I went to bed again. Um, the sauce also has apple cider vinegar and I'm not sure. I think it has some proteins. I think it has some zero point 0.7 proteins, I believe. Obviously I didn't use 100 grams. I used like a teaspoon. I don't know how many grams that is, but I did not worry about it because I knew I would definitely still be under the 20 grams of proteins, but enough proteins to keep me going. Then I went and checked the calories. So the calories are not are and aren't the problem. If there were not enough calories, I would add something else. Like for instance, I don't know, probably a little bit more olive oil because it's the only one that doesn't add carbs no nor proteins to the sauce. I would add to the sauce. Um, then and I counted it was 558, I believe. There was still 41 calories left, and this and those, um it's over that. It's 650, I believe, uh without the cucumbers, but with these and with the sauce, it's over 600, 650, 600 and something. And I haven't accounted for these because I think that they are 14 calories, 100 grams. I have 30 grams less. So it's 1.5, times 3, it's 4 calories, point 2. I, I don't mind. Um, and the carbs, I haven't counted these. They're very low as well. Nor I have counted those. And I was already at 103 carbs for this meal. I can do it. I don't mind. I'm still okay with it. Now, the sauce. 26 grams of Greek yogurt, 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I added the one teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, and I forgot that yogurt was dairy, and so it started to separate. So I added a little bit water to make it runnier. I wanted to do that anyway, so it just looks like it's separating, and it is, but I don't mind. For breakfast, I had one yogurt, the protein yogurts, 25 grams of proteins. I haven't looked at how many carbs nor how many calories it had. I needed to eat. Uh, but after having lunch, I will add that to the or to this to see how many calories, how many proteins, and how many carbs I had already today. To make sure that I don't go overboard with the proteins at dinner, that I eat um, in my total, if I'm going to have between 18 to 20 grams of proteins per meal and I have 3 meals, my total is maximum 60 grams and minimum 54 grams of protein. If my minimum to live of calories is 1,800, I'm trying to have 600 calories in each meal. This one has a little bit more. I'm not sure if the yogurt has 600 grams, so maybe I will need to have a little bit more calories at dinner time. I don't know. Um, and the carbs. Um, I'm just trying to follow the guidelines. So 2 meals normal and 1 meal half of what I used to. So what I'll probably do is at dinner have less carbs, and I'll probably do that by having lettuce. And I'm not sure. I don't know how many carbs lettuce has, but probably very few. Um, I'll have to think about it yet. But basically, these 2 meals I ate as I did, I don't know yet if there is an amount of carbs to eat or not. I'm just looking at what I usually do and try to have half of it at dinner time. and this is going to be my dinner, my lunch. And it was a bit upsetting. I did it in three times. I had to count first the proteins, then the carbs, then the calories, then the carbs, because I'm not used to it, and I had to Google it for everything um, I was eating. I'm going to make notes of each ingredient so that in the future I don't have to worry about. And I also usually eat the same amounts of things. Now, obviously, don't eat this much rice, and I have no idea how much green beans I usually eat, but I'm going to start having 100 grams. And I don't know how many berries I usually eat, but I'm going to start having 100 grams unless I want to have more more calories or more proteins. Um, so I'm going to add. I'm going to write how many grams there is of proteins, how many calories there is, and how many carbs there is in 100 grams of whatever food I'm looking at. And I'm also going to put a side note of the usual amounts I make. And if I ever make a different amount, I'm going to make another side note with it so that instead of Googling and doing the accounts every time I'm going to eat, I decide, well, I'm going to eat this. So this, let's say I'm going to eat this, and I have the list already, and I know how many of how many nutrients of each there is. I know how many I want to reach, and I'll just add it up. That will give me the amounts, and I will assemble lunch. This is a lot of work. This is the reason I didn't want to do it. But after doing it, it was not as hard as I thought. And it was harder now because it was the first time. But I'm sure that with a list and then with practice, knowing how, because I'm going to memorize, there are things I eat all the time. I like rice. I'm going to eat rice every week, I'm sure. So I will eventually memorize how many grams of proteins and how many carbs and how many calories there is in 100 grams of rice. If I eat a different amount, I just have to um, make the I just have to make the adjustment. And if that amount is the amount that I usually eat, I will memorize that new amount. So I'm sure that in a while it's going to be um, think about the food and immediately know how much it provides um, in nutrition facts, so to speak, in calories, carbs, and proteins. I'm not counting fat. I got a feeling I will eventually have to, as I go in this path. I have a feeling I'm going to need to, but at the moment it is too much. So I'm just going to stick with this.